Hello, great audience! Welcome to a workshop. Make technology work for your success. I'm going to talk a little bit about myself first. Once this turns on. Technology is not working for us. And that's why, when talking about technology, always bring a backup. Oh, please work. I'm going to call myself upon this.
Call cafe out, please.
See? Maybe. I think I troubleshot the problem. Yes, I did. Talking a little bit about myself and why you should be listening to me. I joined Toastmasters in 2018, as you remember. I became a VPN for the club in a very interesting time, since right around here, a pandemic hit. And after being VPN, I was elected president. And while I was president, the pandemic hit, but the club didn't stop. The club faced many challenges, but the club actually found a way to thrive. We made the cover of Toastmasters magazine, that is us. And just a month after, we made another article about hybrid harmony. Not only were we a reference in online meetings, we were also a reference in hybrid meetings. After being president, I wanted a year of hiatus, but that didn't work out. So here I was, big again in the club, as a VPPR. As a VPPR, Pablo Garcia found me and said, no, I think you should do more stuff. So he found me and he recruited me for IT manager of Art District, where I didn't create the concept, the hybrid master of toast, but I did indeed create content from workshops I did, from hybrid meetings, from technology, using technology, so that the clubs could survive and gain from this. And in 2023, yes, then I did create a YouTube channel that I did not populate for more than 6 months. And moving on towards here, this was not part of the workshop, but I became a media director. Thank you very much. And first things first, I love QR codes. So if you would become my subscriber, I would love it. You don't have to scan this right now. It will be in the corner of every single slide. But I still do indeed love QR codes. And this is only a preview of some of the concepts I'd like to bring to you. This is an excellent example of how you can merge the digital world with the online, with the technological world, where with your phones, almost accessible everywhere, scan a code and it takes you somewhere. I want to introduce some case. Before actually getting and delving into techniques, solutions, I'd like to try and overwhelm you with information. So who in here is in the technology area? Okay, you cannot, you two, and you as well cannot answer what I'm going to ask next. If you had to look at one of these diagrams and just start picking whatever you need, would you be able to do it? And the nodding faces tell me something. That you have not yet understood how to look at this. Because if I told you, for example, to look at this, or this, with just the same amount of wild, loose information, you would know. You would look at a menu and say, I don't want everything of one thing, I want one of each. Or you can do a mix and match. And for me, to look at technology is this. Technology is like a menu, where you do not have to be an expert in one field. What you need to have is the following tools. The following tools. The technology has choices. First, what is your objective? What are you trying to accomplish with technology? Then, after knowing that's where I'm going, how are you going there? What steps are you going to take? How are you going to break up the process? And how you can link up technologies to get there. What technologies will you use and how well they work together. Because this has to be, or this has been my mindset using technology to drive success in every organization I've been in. Now, let me go back. You are now much more familiar with some of these logos. Because these are the logos of the technologies we use in our clubs, more or less. For example, TikTok might not be very familiar, but if you were from Marbella Achievers, you would be all over TikTok because they post a lot of content. They post a lot of content to drive membership, to draw attention. So we clubs use these technologies far and wide, and many more, in order to achieve such success. And this is what I would like to ask, to break down those steps, like to get into the workshop. If you look over here, what is the focus of this picture?
Green, the star, the field.
Horizon.
The fact that there are so many diverse answers tells me there isn't a real one focus. What about this one? What is the focus of this picture?
The tree.
What if the tree was over there? What's the focus of this picture?
Still.
It's
Still the tree.
Thank you. And this is the very first point, the very first objective I'd like to share with you. Existence. Just by existing this tree, just by being where nothing is, it's the focus of our attention, it's our objective. It should be one of our objectives. And how do us, as clubs, do this? To give you some suggestions. Linktree. Actually, I'm going to start the other way around, because from oldest to newest technology. WordPress. People would just write up blogs, posts, and would link up story after story, and people visiting, oh, this is what this club is about. This is what this organization is about. More recently, or at least in my opinion, that more versatile than this, not just in the blog post, you have Wix. And for example, my club uses Wix as a custom format to hold our website, our club site. And this format gives us the flexibility to have pages, to have different forms, ways of interacting with the club without actually getting to the club. And then Linktree, which is a much more modern tool that we use as a resource against Instagram. Because Instagram does not allow you to share links, to overload the user with links. So they used Linktree, they actually bought up Linktree, which is, this is the one point of access where you can get to everything we have. And the very first slide where I showed you those two QR codes and the small image was a Linktree. It's where you want someone to go to get access to everything you have. Many clubs have this. I've been promoting this in Area C4, and most of the clubs have it. And if you could think about it, the district has a Linktree. It could link to the divisions, to the areas, and so forth. And it would be all interconnected in a way that we would get a hierarchy of Linktrees. It is possible. It's not yet being done. But having this existence isn't enough. So, how do we get there? And how do we get there? In this picture it might sound obvious, because there's a road, but it's still a series of steps. It's still a fact that you know that from here, you go to there, and you go to there, to get to that page. And this is what I would call access. You exist, but you still need people to get there. You need to drive people to get there. And that's where my absurd fascination with QR codes comes in. Because you can just scan and ta-da, you're there. But I've been talking about QR codes, I've been showing you, I've been excited about it. But why have I been excited? Because there's so many ways you can go around with this. What is the difference between these two QR codes?
Size.
Sorry, now you can answer.
Size.
Size, there is a difference in size? Possibly. It was unintentional. But the real difference is that you have no idea where you're going with either of them.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things, one of the contents that I've shared before. You can customize colors, you can customize logos, you can customize everything. So, you should do something like this. This is my father's website, an e-commerce website. This is a link tree. It takes you to a link tree of a club. Isn't it much more explicit? Shouldn't we be much more explicit when we use these technologies? What else can go wrong? And so just this morning I was seeing Pablo with this huge QR code full of little dots, and I was thinking, man, Pablo should come to this workshop. Really. I could look at it and say, why would anyone make the mistake of saying and just showing the QR code just this big? Because there are ways of shortening. The QR code is a dot-to-dot representation of the size of our link. If we can just minify our link, which we see everywhere, because we don't go to the district chat and say, follow this link with 17 lines. No, we say bit.ly something. You shorten up the link, you get a QR code from it. This was the mistake that we made in July, where we printed all excited QR codes, we pointed our cameras at it, and poof, nothing works. Color and contrast. Please use colors that do not confuse with the background. Or when unfocused, it's just a mess. Or in this case, if it's not a lot of information, at least make the QR code bigger. Because if it's really small, it really still depends on a camera. It really depends on the optics to get there. And last but not least, the trifecta. All in one. When people want to be smart ass and just say, oh, follow this QR code, which is unseen, gigantic information and still no size to be seen. I dare you to try and scan this and literally fail. I'm not going to ask you what's the focus of this. But I am going to ask you, out of these two trees, which one is yours?
I don't know.
It's a great answer. Thank you. You not knowing is because there is no differentiation. There is nothing in here that tells me, why is it me? What about now? Which of these trees do you wish was yours?
The lightning one.
The one with lines. Thank you very much. And that is... No, I thought the name was going to pop up. And the way you can give light, focus, to one of your trees, when others are right there, we use the social media. We just present our club through social media. What we're probably not doing right, and I'm not going to tell you which social media you should be using. That's a VPPR workshop, and my workshop is not ready. So what we should be doing is decoupling. No, sorry. The fact that we have so much social media means that we have a lot of work that we have to put into it to actually work with them. You have to post on Facebook, on Instagram, No, let's be smart about this. Let's use technology for the work, for the success of our club. So this is all under the hood. You have them, but you don't touch them. You use social media aggregators. And you look at this, and you should really think, which one is the right fit for me? And there are things we can discuss. For example, if you're only using Facebook and Instagram, Meta Publishing Tools does everything you need for free. If you go one step beyond, if you have more than 5, 6, whatever social media you have, for example, Loomly and Hootsuite are excellent options because they allow you to manage big volumes of social media. But my favorite so far is Buffer, the one because you can manage up to 3 social media accounts. Every club I've known is using 3 or less. More is just because they have the resources. And what ends up is you lessen the workload for the club. Again, using technology to focus on the club. Please, ask a question.
I tried to use Hootsuite at some point, but it's not free. So what do you say? Can you
Buffer. Go Buffer. Because it is. Until 3 social media accounts, it is free. There is an extreme version of this I did not want to include in my slides, which is you take Facebook and Instagram and you use Meta because it's free, and then everything else you do on Buffer because it's extra accounts. And either way, there are 2 free options, and you can go up to 5 accounts. Did that answer your question?
Yes, I had a second one. Is that these tools, they change the format? Because you know Instagram has to be vertical, maybe Facebook has to be horizontal and so on.
So far, as long as there's an image, I'm good. On
Okay.
Buffer. So
Buffer is like cache buffer or
buffer.com.
buffer, like BUFF.
Precisely.
Okay.
Yeah.
First time I hear it.
Okay, this is the word smarter. But this I thought this was going to pop up earlier. Work smarter. Don't just duplicate your word. Work smart. I don't know if you've noticed, but I think Christmas trees are very illustrative of the issue I'm trying to present. Once again, which one? No, before that. You have all the Christmas trees. Everyone is using the same tools. Everyone is showing up their resources. They're being technologically smart. Still, what's your tree? Would you know? In that case, I present to you possibly an alternative. I've been using this, I've been dabbling in this, and for example, this is not harder, work smarter, not harder. It's one principle all put together with multiple columns to conform. These are 2 posts. This is a post when I did in my house about winning the quiz in this district from birthday. If you weren't there, you should have been. I won. And then this is a post about a meeting we had. If you just look at the text, you can see there's quite a lot of different amount of care, attention. There really isn't. It's just I used ChatGPT in the middle. I just wrote, but then I asked for that text because I'm not a great writer, and I shouldn't have to be. I'm not working smarter, neither harder.
Sorry. Which one was the sentence?
Oh, that one. Definitely that
The
one.
biggest one.
And then we're going to get how we can better use ChatGPT. Because ChatGPT is awesome for you to ask questions and get responses, but there is such a thing already as prompt engineering. It is a very unstable job because it will basically steal the other ones. So how should we actually use prompt engineering? You should always prepare a set of statements to say what you want to achieve, not just write it every time. You should have some rules in mind or some steps in mind. For example, the very next post I'm going to do should have the following purpose: promote the attendance of everyone here in a workshop presented by me. The target is to encourage everyone to attend the workshop. The size of text. That one was actually not very small, but still, it was moderate, it fit in one screen of my cell phone. What's the style of writing? Do you want it to be informal, formal, persuasive? Many adjectives you can add on to here. And also, this is very important, the structure of the text. I have one title, few paragraphs, hashtags, with an additional remark. Always make that my first hashtag. I also, somewhere over here, yes, in the style of writing, one emoji per paragraph. Just to keep things interesting. If you just gather up these, or if you have it in a table, for the next post you have, you change up one variable. For example, this is not my objective. This is not my target. You change one of these, you pick up the text, you put it in ChatGPT, you have a text. And before using all of this, I was a VPPR. And I spent a lot of time writing those texts, fixing the correcting, copying and pasting between sessions. It got boring, it got exhausting, it was not productive, and right now it's unnecessary because we have these tools at our disposal.
Question.
Yes.
Do you keep those prompts somewhere else outside? I mean, in a separate document? Because once you close the session, GPT session, it doesn't forget it, or it still remembers your interaction with them?
In ChatGPT, it remembers my interaction, but I keep it in a separate file. It could be in Google Drive, and I just change up the variable, copy, and just paste in ChatGPT. It just pastes in text mode, and we get this. It's very good. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't remember this slide, but I believe this slide takes us to Invicta Toastmasters Club. And this last point is because the name of the workshop is not make technology work for the success of your club. It's just make it work for your success. So outside of Toastmasters, everything I just said is applicable. You can use social media, you can use ChatGPT, social media aggregators. Everything is applicable to businesses, such as my father's business. I did not create the site for my father's e-commerce operation, but it's there. But my father is quite a shrewd man. He sells banknotes and collection coins. Every single coin has this cardboard wrapping in plastic in the middle. He slaps a QR code right there. And he's usually just in fairs. He sells, and then people can just scan the QR code, and they are taken to his e-commerce store. In here, it doesn't need all of this context, because it's already in a product that you bought that you would take. But then you have more access. For example, and I chose another type of tree to link to another link tree, where he points towards all his social media that he populates using buffer only for the ones he finds relevant to social media. This was my workshop. The lessons here are not just for Toastmasters, they can be picked up and used everywhere. Final thought is that you are either using technology or technology is using you. Thank you very much.